It's 2 in the morning and a sound just came from the other room. You're already awake, not slowly, instantly. Your heart is slamming before you've even decided to be afraid. You're holding your breath, eyes wide open in the dark. And there's nothing there. It was the house, a pipe, a floorboard, the fridge settling. But here's the strange part. For about a second and a half, every cell in your body was dead, certain something was about to kill you. And the thing your body just braced for, the thing that alarm was built to run from, has been extinct for over 10,000 years. That panic in your chest was never designed for a creaky house. It was tuned with frightening precision for animals that are now nothing but bones behind glass. A cave lion, a leopard waiting in a tree, a snake in grass you couldn't quite see. So why does it still fire? Why does the most sophisticated brain on this planet still freeze solid at a shape in the dark that turns out to be a coat on a chair? Because the thing doing the screaming is millions of years old, and nobody ever told it the world changed. Deep in your brain, behind your eyes, sit 2 little clusters of cells about the size and shape of almonds. They're called the amygdala, and their whole job is to ask one question, constantly, about everything you see and hear. Is this going to hurt me? Here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. When something threatening shows up, the signal doesn't go to the thinking part of your brain first. It takes a shortcut. A rough, blurry version of what you're seeing races straight to the amygdala in around 12 milliseconds. The detailed picture, the part of you that can actually tell a snake from a stick, doesn't arrive for closer to 300. Do that math. Your fear is more than 20 times faster than your understanding. That's why you flinch at the garden hose before you know it's a hose. You don't decide to be afraid. You're afraid first and find out why a quarter second later. The neuroscientist Joseph LeDoux named that shortcut the low road. Fast, dirty, built to save your life before you've had a single conscious thought. And this thing is old, not human old. We didn't invent the amygdala. Fish have a version of it, lizards, birds, every mammal alive. It was already running for hundreds of millions of years before anything like a person existed. We didn't build it, we inherited it. So we've had it forever. The real question is what it spent the last couple million years learning to be afraid of. Because it sure wasn't toasters. For almost the entire human story, we were not at the top of the food chain. We love to picture our ancestors as fearless hunters with spears. For a very long time, we were the hunted. There's a fossil, a skull cap from a human relative called Paranthropus, dug up at Swartkrans in South Africa, with 2 neat holes punched in the back. For years, nobody knew what made them. Then a researcher named C.K. Brain picked up the jaw of a fossil leopard from the very same caves and slotted its 2 long canines into the holes. A perfect fit. That individual had been grabbed by the skull and hauled into a tree. There's another, the famous Taung child, a 2-million-year-old kid from our own branch of the family. Look closely at the eye sockets and there are scratch marks, the exact kind a crowned eagle leaves tearing into a monkey's skull. A bird of prey carried off one of our ancestors. This is the world your alarm was forged in. Cave lions bigger than any today, hyenas, eagles overhead. A place where a cough in the dark or a ripple moving the wrong way through the grass could be the last thing you ever noticed. The ancestors who startled at nothing 100 times a day lived to have children. The calm ones who waited around to be sure, a lot of them got eaten. And you can't pass down calm and relaxed from inside a leopard. So every single one of us is descended from the jumpy ones. We are the children of the paranoid. And you can still see that vanished world in what scares people today. Think about the most common phobias. Snakes, spiders, heights, the dark, deep water, tight spaces. Now notice what is not on that list. Cars, guns, electrical outlets, junk food. The things that actually kill people by the millions right now, almost nobody wakes up in a cold sweat about those. That's the tell. Your brain isn't keeping a list of what's dangerous today. It's working off one drawn up 100,000 years ago, and nobody ever updated it. A snake stopped being a leading cause of death for most of us a long time ago. Your nervous system never got the memo. Now here's where it gets genuinely strange, because you'd think evolution would just fix this, quietly update the threat list, drop the cave lions, add the freeway. It doesn't. And the reason it doesn't is the whole point. So let's kill a myth, because it's everywhere. You've heard that anxiety is a malfunction, a glitch, a sign something in you is broken, faulty wiring you're meant to switch off. That's almost exactly backwards. Your fear system is doing its job flawlessly. The job just barely exists anymore. Picture the smoke detector on your kitchen ceiling. It shrieks when you make toast, every time. And in that moment, it's completely embarrassingly wrong. So is it a bad detector? No, it's a brilliant one. The cost of it screaming at your toast is a few seconds of annoyance. The cost of it staying silent during a real fire is your whole family. So you build it to overreact, 100 false alarms for every real one, because the false alarms are cheap and the missed one is the end. An evolutionary biologist named Randolph Nesse called this the smoke detector principle, and it runs your whole body. Your ancestor hears a rustle. 99 times out of 100, it's the wind. One time, it's a leopard. The ancestor who bolts at all 100 looks ridiculous 99 times and is alive on the 100th. The one who relaxes is right 99 times and dead once. And dead once is the only score that counts. So evolution never tuned your fear to be accurate. It tuned it to keep you breathing. A false alarm costs you a jittery afternoon. A missed alarm costs you everything you'll ever be. Given that math, a brain that cries wolf all day long was the winning move, every single time. And honestly, if that just shifted the knot in your stomach even slightly, the idea that it's a 2-million-year-old bodyguard taking its job way too seriously, that's the whole reason this channel exists. If you're into the real story under the stuff we all feel, subscribe and stick around. We chase exactly this every week. Here's the catch though, that strategy was perfect for the world that built it, where threats were physical, fast, and over in seconds. You run, you climb, you fight, and it's done. The lion leaves or it doesn't, and either way, the adrenaline burns off in minutes. Your modern threats don't work like that. A deadline isn't a leopard. A passive-aggressive email, an overdue bill, a comment that's been gnawing at you for 3 days, none of these show up, get resolved in 30 seconds, and leave. They sit there for days, for weeks. But your body genuinely cannot tell the difference. To your amygdala, a hostile message from your boss and a predator at the cave mouth register as the same emergency. It floods you with the same adrenaline, the same cortisol, the same get-ready-to-sprint chemistry. For a threat you can't outrun, because the threat is an idea in your own head. That's the mismatch. The predators changed, the wiring didn't. You're running a system calibrated for a planet full of big cats and snakes and cliff edges. In rush hour traffic in open plan offices at 2 in the morning over a text you wish you could unsend, the lion is long gone. The alarm built for the lion is still bolted in with no setting for relax, this is just modern life. So when your heart slams at a noise in the dark, you're not being irrational. You're being perfectly, beautifully rational for the year 40,000 BC. That fear is the single most successful invention in the history of staying alive. It walked your bloodline through 2 million years of teeth and claws and venom and got every last one of your ancestors to adulthood. It has exactly one flaw. It can't tell that the teeth are finally gone. And to be straight with you, we're still arguing the details. How much of any one fear is wired in versus learned is genuinely contested. The lab results are messier than the tidy story suggests. Even why those great predators died off when they did is still an open fight. Anybody who tells you it's all settled is selling something. But the big picture is hard to argue with. Your anxiety feels like proof that something's gone wrong with you. Flip it around. For about 2 million years, it was the thing that kept going right. It's a smoke detector that can't tell toast from a house fire, so the next time it screams at nothing in the dark, go ahead and be annoyed with it. But maybe, just a little, thank it too. It's the entire reason you're still here to be annoyed at all. And if the way evolution quietly wired your feelings is your kind of rabbit hole, you're going to like where this channel goes next. There's another one waiting on the screen for you. See you in there.